Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another fun episode of Cruise Chat for Canadians. I am your host for this evening, Matt Hope, and we have a full panel with us tonight. Joining us, we have our agents Luke, Trisha, Carrie, who will be presenting this evening for the short but sweet cruises. We have the owner of Vacations for Canadians, Tina, on the panel, as well as our marionette behind the scenes that pulls all the strings and keeps us on time and in check, Linda, working behind the scenes. But we also have a special guest with us this evening. Joining us is our favorite cruise director, wearing all his flashy RC gear. That's right, we have Mitch Marucci from Royal Caribbean on the panel as well, joining us. So we have a full house for you this evening. As I said before, our topic for tonight's cruise chat will be short but sweet cruises. And when you talk about short but sweet cruises, Royal Caribbean certainly is one of the top cruise lines when it comes to short and sweet cruises. And I'm sure Carrie's going to talk all about that. Who we are, Vacations for Canadians, we are your cruise specialists. Now, we also deal with land tours and world tours. We also have a magical vacations department that can help you out with all of your Disney needs, which is why I'm sporting my Mickey hat tonight, just to help promote some of our other divisions as well, or Universal. If you're interested in Universal, then Sherry is certainly able to help you out with all of that. But tonight we're here to talk all about cruises. And so we will go through our presentation. Be sure to comment in the chat and say who you are and where you're watching from tonight. Post all of your questions in there, whether it's about the presentation on short but sweet cruises or anything else that you want to ask the panel. Like I said, we have a full one tonight, so be sure to take advantage of all of us on here this evening and ask those questions. And then once we're done the Q&A, we will do a prize giveaway to wrap this all up. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Carrie, who's going to present tonight short but sweet cruises.
Thanks, Matt. So, hi everyone, I'm Carrie. I'm one of the travel advisors with Vacations for Canadians and here to talk about short but sweet cruises. So, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, some of us experienced cruisers do love those longer sailings, but there's always a reason why those short cruises are so popular. So today I'm going to go through some of the benefits for sailing on a short cruise. So what is a short cruise? So these typically range from 1 to 5 days, various itineraries ranging from Port Canaveral to Bahamas or Fort Lauderdale, Miami to Bahamas, Tampa to Cozumel, Los Angeles to Mexico, and there's even cruises to nowhere. So I believe Royal Caribbean has the sailing out of Brisbane, Australia, and you hop on the cruise for 2 days and you just kind of sail at sea, and it's just a relaxing few days to get away from the mainland. So why would anyone want to do a short cruise? So we'll move to the next slide. And it's a perfect long weekend or a quick getaway. So if you don't have a lot of vacation time, it's limited, you just need to get away, you can go over a long weekend. The opportunity is there and sail on a 3-night Bahamas cruise. So it's a chance to just refresh, get out of the Canadian winter for a few days and lay in the sun with a drink in your hand, and you're not taking a lot of vacation days. So another reason I was on with my girlfriend, if you look at the picture on the right, that's us, a bachelorette party. So bachelor or bachelorette, what better way to celebrate? You're working around different schedules. So a few days away to celebrate an upcoming marriage, is cruising is a great way to do that. The best thing is easy to plan. So if you work with one of us, we can help find the right cruise that's perfect for you, and everything else is basically planned. So you don't need to look for hotels and book restaurants, find things to do. It's all done for you. You got amazing food, your entertainment, there's live shows, there's pools, there's spas, there's bars, shore excursions, and a lot of activities throughout the day on the ship. So it's very simple and easy. And we'll go to the next slide. So another good reason for a short cruise is a trial cruise. So if you've never been on a cruise, you're not sure if you really like cruising, you heard good things, but still kind of iffy. You're not sure if you're going to get seasick. So a 3 to 5 night cruise is perfect. So it's a short distance. You don't have a long commitment. You can do 1 day at sea, which is perfect for you to determine if cruising's for you. So if you're going to Florida, you can hop on a 3-night cruise again, and then spend the rest of the time in Florida. So you can break up your vacation that way. So it's a good sampler to get into the cruising, to be a cruiser like all of us are. And we'll go to the next slide. Another good reason for short cruises is to extend a vacation. So very similar to the last slide. A good example, Matt talked about Disney. So we've all had our Disney vacation. Anyone that's been to the Disney parks, a few days at the park can be very tiresome. So 7 days at the park could be quite overwhelming, especially if you have younger kids. So what better way to break that up? You've already flown to Florida. So take a ride to Port Canaveral, and again, hop on one of those short cruises. A great one, Disney has cruises out of Port Canaveral for Bahamas. So 3 and 4 night sailings. And then Royal Caribbean has the Utopia of the Seas, which has 3 and 4 night sailings out of Port Canaveral as well. So break that vacation up. And if you're interested, we already mentioned in the Disney parks in a cruise, we do have a resident expert, Sherry Nickerson, that can help you with that as well. Another example to breaking up a cruise or breaking up a vacation. If you go overseas, I mentioned the Australia option. So there's a few days out of Brisbane. There's also Royal Caribbean has one out of Singapore. So if you want to do a land vacation and get the culture, the nightlife, we all like those as well. But you want to still see a few more, maybe some islands, and you can't really get to them unless you fly. Well, an option is a cruise. So Royal Caribbean has a 5-night sailing out of Singapore, and you can visit Phuket for an overnight stay. So 2 days in Phuket, go to the beaches, and then another stop in Malaysia. So it just adds on to your vacation that you already have planned. And we'll go on to the next slide. And another good reason is budget. So if you can't really afford that 10-night sailing, a 15-night sailing, and have a smaller budget, then do that short cruise. It's a great way to get yourself on the ship. This is an example of one of the short cruises. We can get them lower price, but this is an example of one of our exclusive rate. This is peak time, so December 26th, day after Christmas. So the prices are a little up, but if you can see, we have the exclusive rates for the short cruises and longer cruises. But here you can see you almost get $3,000 off for 2 passengers, which is great. Then if we go to the next slide, that's all I have. So I want to thank you for listening. So if you're new to sailing and planning a trial cruise, I will warn you, this is my little pun, you will be hooked. I believe the statistic, I looked it up, 75% of the people that disembark a cruise plan on booking another one in the future. So happy sailing, everyone.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And I know when I first started cruising, I never imagined myself doing something that was only, 3, 4 days, because you go to all the trouble to book your flights, to arrange for some hotels or whatever beforehand. So, already you're going to all that trouble for travel purposes just to get to that destination. So to have such a short cruise, you think that if you're going to go to all that trouble, you want to make the vacation longer. But that's where the beauty of some of these ports really comes into play, because then you can extend that vacation, whether it's on the front end or the back end, or you can do back to backs. And then, one cruise is going to certain ports, that's a short cruise, but then the next one is also a short cruise but goes to other ports. So you can turn around quickly and have two different vacations in one block of time. So there is so many different combinations that can be put together when you're dealing with these short cruises. And I know for myself, I'm getting ready to do Disney in September, and so we're doing the best of both, because we're doing the parks and then jumping on the cruise. So it's going to be 8 solid days of Disney, which is going to result in parent burnout, I'm sure, by the end of it. But we love to do these things to ourselves for the benefit of our kids. So we're looking forward to that in September. But and Royal is another perfect example, because it sails out of Port Canaveral, where they have those short 4 days. And I'm sure Mitch is just biting at the bit to talk about all those fantastic itineraries and the ultimate destination in the Caribbean, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is featured on all of those. So Mitch, I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, because I know, being an expert on short but sweet cruises, I'm sure you have some insight for us as well when it comes to that topic.
Thanks, Matt. And hey, thanks everybody. I'm so happy to be here. 100%. Everything that you guys said is 100% true. And it's really funny, because I literally just got off of a cruise last week. I took a 5-day cruise from, believe it or not, Shanghai, China to Japan. And that is the ultimate. I literally didn't fly all the way to China just to do a 5-day cruise to Japan. I also stayed and did some on my vacation, but it isn't exactly that. It's a great option to combine. And we, as Royal Caribbean, have ships all over the world, as you mentioned, Carrie. So it is a really amazing option, and it is the on-ramp of cruising. That is part of how Royal Caribbean has been fortunate enough to grow into the largest brand, because about 10 years ago, we started putting all of our ships, we started amplifying them and adding all these fun, exciting features like the flow riders, surfing, water slides, specialty restaurants, more activities. And we started putting those ships that were amplified into the short cruise market, because, believe it or not, some of us don't realize it, but cruising isn't as big as the regular, the overall vacation industry. For some of it's our whole lives, but there's still so many people that have never taken a cruise. So it is the on ramp, and as Carrie said, once you start, you can't stop. So there's again, like you said, combination cruises is a big deal, and it's a big option, especially, you might want to do Universal or Disney, and then you might want to jump on a cruise over the weekend. So typically the 3 and 4 day cruises out of Florida will run Friday to Monday, and then Monday to Friday. So like Carrie said, it is an absolutely perfect example for a long weekend. I know here in Ontario, we just had an extended long weekend. So where I'm from in London, we had the students and the kids in school. They were off Friday and Monday. So you wouldn't even have to take any days off, and you could be out doing a 3 or 4 day cruise. And you could be spending one day, if you wanted to, in Florida, or you could just fly in the same day, do the cruise, and leave on Monday.
It's no. We don't say fly in the same day.
Okay, well, I know some people have like this whole, like, they want to just spend as little time as possible flying and staying over. But I know
it's timely that you're talking about this long weekend, because I actually did a short cruise this weekend. Perfect. My daughter, who has a new house, they're doing construction on it, a new puppy. She couldn't get away, so she actually flew down with me and did a Friday to Monday cruise, and only had to take a half a day off to do it.
Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. And not everybody thinks about that. And believe it or not, especially from most of us who are in Ontario, I know there's people from all over Canada, but it really is that it is possible. So if you're in Vancouver, for example, or if you're in Alberta, it's a really easy flight over to Los Angeles, where we have 3, 4, up 5, 6 night cruises. And the same thing out of, all the different ports. We even have short cruises out of New Jersey going to Bermuda with overnights. There's an awesome 4-night cruise that I love that goes up to Halifax. And if you really don't want to be in the US that much, you literally could fly into Newark, New Jersey, and from the airport be to the ship in less than 18 minutes. So that's a great option as well. But, all those great things that we talked about, this is, especially when you talked about the celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and you may not want to spend the bachelor parties, you may not want to spend a whole week, but that's a great option. But another thing that we see very, as a former cruise director who lived on the ships for many years, what I saw that would blow your minds is the amount of people that are doing back to back to back to back to back to back, even on 3 and 4 day cruises that just go to Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Nassau. They just love the ship itself. And for those people that really want a beach experience, getting Perfect Day at Coco Cay 2 times a week, and with the Royal Beach Club opening in December in Nassau on Paradise Island, in a 3-day cruise, that would give you 2 amazing beach days, and you could combine that back to back. So a lot of great options. And when we talk about Orlando and, for example, Disney, you also talked about Fort Lauderdale. Well, we have that incredible Brightline train, which can take you in 3 hours from Orlando right to Miami. And the Wonder of the Seas is about to start doing 3 and 4 day cruises out of Miami. So, Port Canaveral to Miami and to Fort Lauderdale, tons and tons and tons of choices. That's the good thing about it. I think that we are definitely spoiled for choice depending on where we want to go.
Yeah, and I remember following along so jealously with your photos, Mitch, of your trip when you were in Shanghai. And I actually got on and started looking at the royal itineraries out of Shanghai, because already in my head I was thinking, there's one more Disney out there that I haven't visited yet, which is right out there in Shanghai. And here's how I can make this trip work for me, where I can still work on the cruise industry and do a cruise out there, but at the same time, I can check one more Disney off the list of hitting all the different parks. So it was already burning in my brain watching your photos.
You know what? It's so funny you say that, because I really wanted to go, but we did kind of too late, and my wife wanted to do other things, so we didn't have the time this instance. But now with China having, I think it's a 15-day visa-free program, you can go in early and you can do that day trip. It's not that far away, and still do the cruise. And the same thing with, for example, our ships that sail out of Southampton. So you can do a quick skip and a jump over to Paris and do Disney there if you'd like as well. Same thing as we talked about with Los Angeles. So there is so many different options. And I think one of the best things to consider is the cost savings. I know we showed that one example of the ship sailing in December, which is peak season, but also traditionally the best value for money is those shorter cruises. And when you compare what you're paying on a short cruise, when you get all that amazing entertainment, and at Royal Caribbean, the entertainment, all those activities on board are included, and all that fun nightlife, the ports, all the food included, Perfect Day at Coco Cay experience. When you try to compare that to a hotel in Florida or somewhere else, doesn't matter, plus the food and entertainment and taxis and Ubers, there's absolutely no comparison. The value is just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I appreciate you. Well. Oh, go ahead, Jeannie.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to add, when you guys talk about back-to-backs, for those that may not know, if you're doing a back-to-back with Royal or Celebrity and you're going in between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, there's actually a bus that they will shuttle you back and forth for free. You just have to tell the cruise line when you're on you have to go to guest services when you're on the cruise, and they will hook you up with that bus.
That's how popular it is. It honestly, there's so many people that do it. It's very, very popular.
Yep. I mean, it'll save you $100 Uber ride back and forth too. Even if you're within the same city, Fort Lauderdale to Fort Lauderdale, but just not close in the port area. I think there's also a shuttle that'll get you back and forth as well. I'm not positive on that. I do know that they do the Miami to Fort Lauderdale though.
And there is shuttles from pier to pier in Miami. So if you're on 2 different cruise lines, they'll even take you from one cruise line over to another one. There is a Port Miami shuttle that'll move you around.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, Mitch, that I appreciated that you brought up LA, because I just started pricing out flights recently for LA to do a comparison between the flight prices for Florida, especially for Miami or Fort Lauderdale, with what the prices are in LA. And because we're seeing this scale back right now with some of the airlines on the flights going into the US, while there's been a lot more scale back on Florida, there's been a lot less scale back for Los Angeles. There's still so many flights that go into LAX. And as a result of that, there is a big difference right now in flight prices to fly to Los Angeles than there is to fly to Florida. So I was quite surprised when I booked my flights to go to LA, just how cheap the flights were for LA, which bodes very well if you're taking a cruise out of Los Angeles.
100%. And, coming up in June, we are about to launch the biggest ships ever to sail out of Los Angeles. So we've had the Navigator of the Seas there, and that's a great ship, but we're about to launch the Quantum class. So Quantum Innovation will be sailing from Los Angeles, followed by the Serenade next year. So we're going to have plenty of ships sailing in and out of LA. And Luke's going to be able to tell us all about that after next month, right?
Yeah, I so look forward to it and flying to LA and getting on Ovation out of the Seas. I've done Anthem of the Seas, but I look forward to Ovation.
Yeah, and one other thing, Matt, that's a great point that you mentioned. When people talk about flying to Los Angeles, first inclination sometimes is, oh, that's pretty far. But when you really think about it, how much further is it from Las Vegas? It's pretty much the same flight. And when you think about how many Canadians will go all the way to Las Vegas for 2 nights, they won't sleep, or 3 nights or 4 nights. And you think about that, you think about going to Nashville, New York for the weekend. And, for example, Nashville, it's not uncommon to pay $25 for a drink, and that's not top shelf. So when you consider the amount of money that you're going to be able to save, and especially thinking about something like LA, if you can get an amazing deal on a cruise, which you can, and a great price, why wouldn't you take a jump and try something different?
Yeah.
So it sounds like cruise math is a lot like girl math.
And then I also want to add with there's comments about expensive flights. I am going on Oasis of the Seas next month out of New Jersey, Cape Liberty. I'm doing the train, so the Amtrak. It was just over $50 US from Buffalo, and it goes straight to Penn Station, and then there's another train to Newark. So super easy. I'm with little kids, so they can walk around and they're not contained to a car seat. So it's another cost-effective option to get to the cruise port.
The other option is I'm actually driving down next Tuesday to go on Symphony of the Seas out of Cape Liberty.
Oh, sorry, Symphony of the Seas. I'm not on Oasis.
Symphony of the Seas. And I'm driving down. It's about 6.5 hours from Ottawa. So it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that much further. Sorry, Tina.
I was going to say, for those of you that don't know, Carrie is the queen of public transportation. She can get you from anywhere to anywhere in the world for like $20.
It may take a while, but I get there. It's an experience.
Well, hey, it's always fun to try something different. So there are some people that have done that train before, and it will be nice, to hear about that. Like Luke said, he's driving. My parents, when I worked on the ship out of New Jersey, which I did for quite a few years, they would always drive. And from London, it was just over 8 hours. And they just would leave, especially because most of those ships sail from New Jersey on a weekend. So they would leave after work on Friday, and they would just stay overnight at some small, place on the side of the highway. And they would wake up the next morning and drive right to the pier and park their car, and that's it. You drop your luggage off before. So, even from Toronto to Newark, that's only a 90-minute flight. And there's some pretty good deals because it's such a short flight over nonstop. So yeah, there's deals to be made. And that is why you book with Vacations for Canadians, because these men and women have such a difficult job. They have to travel and go on cruises and do all this research to make sure they can pass on
tons and tons of research.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, it's a good career.
And last summer, I just did that Brightline train that you were talking about, Mitch, and because we wanted to test out that exact theory where we sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, and then we took the Brightline up to Port Canaveral. And because we had all our luggage and everything, we wanted to make sure that we were going to be accommodated. You can upgrade your ticket on Brightline, and then you get a VIP lounge before your train arrives. So you get your meals and drinks included. You get special seating with your meals and drinks on the train. They have a porter that takes our bags. So all of our luggage was taken for us and checked on the train. And we were basically given a tag and shown what shelves our bags were going to be on. And then we had these comfortable seats for the quick ride to get us from Fort Lauderdale up to Port Canaveral. So it was a fairly seamless transportation to get us from one end to the other along the panhandle of Florida.
Exactly. A lot of people would rent a car in the old days, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just so much easier to jump on the train, especially when you said there's drinks included, because if you do that upgrade, it's like actually like alcohol. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'll mention, that I did that from Port Miami to Orlando, and I did that service where you can actually add in the Brightline app a transfer from the terminal. So I had an Uber, it was included. So I literally got off the ship, got into the Uber, they took me to the station. I got off the train in Orlando, the Uber took me to the ship. It was awesome. So there's lots of ways to do it. And that's why you have all the experts here that are going to make sure that you get the right choice, right? You make the right decision.
Awesome. Okay, we do have some questions from our viewers. So I'm going to pop one up here. One of them was already answered, which was talking about the flights. And so we have another question here. And Jen is asking, when is Perfect Day at Mexico will be open? When will Perfect Day at Mexico be open?
Okay. Hi, Jen. So Perfect Day Mexico, which is going to actually be in Costa Maya port, that's opening in 2027. We don't have, unfortunately, specific details yet of exactly when it's going to open and what's going to be included there. But we do know that if you've ever been to Costa Maya, how big that port is. And Royal Caribbean also purchased 200 acres around it. So it's going to be absolutely massive. And, I'm counting on a lazy river. I know we've all been asking for it, so I'd be disappointed if they don't put it in, but we'll wait and see. What we do know is that in the spring, we are about to, in the next month or two, I would expect, we're going to be announcing and putting on sale the Beach Club on Paradise Island, the Royal Beach Club in Nassau. That's going to open this December. And then next year in 2026, the Royal Beach Club in Cozumel, Mexico is going to open. And then Perfect Day Mexico is going to be 2027. So what that really means is that even when you're on the Western Caribbean itineraries, even if you're sailing out of Tampa, if you're sailing out of Galveston, which is going to be the new Miami in the next couple of years, those ports will all be able to visit Perfect Day as well. And just as a reminder, all that fun stuff is included at Perfect Day. So lots of really cool beach experiences are coming. And that's another big reason where we see a lot of first-time cruisers try a short cruise, because maybe they're used to land-based or all-inclusive resorts. And when they do those short cruises, they're able to do those beach days just in a shorter time frame.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mitch. Sorry, go ahead, Tina.
I was just going to say that I think the back-to-back on the Wonder or the Utopia is going to be like the ultimate cruise, because you're going to get, if you do the 7 days, the back-to-back, the 3-day and the 4-day, you're going to get 2 days at Coco Cay, and you're going to get 2 days that you could go to the beach club. And to me, that's just the most amazing itinerary. If you just want to, chill, have fun, get some sun. I just think that's the ultimate itinerary.
And you think about when you do the turnaround in Port Canaveral, that's a perfect example. You could go down to Cocoa Beach, which is not very far away. And if you really wanted, and some people might just want a day off, but you still could get another day in Cocoa Beach. And that's, I know someone that did 10 days back to back to back. So they did 3 cruises in a row. But it's another thing to think about is when you do those short cruises, Tina, like you just mentioned, really when you think about what happens after dinner. So when you think about it at a hotel or maybe a resort, there's so much going on these ships after dinner. So whether that's the aqua shows, the ice skating shows, the piano bar, the nightclub, the list goes on and on and on. There's just so much going on. So you wake up the next day and you just need to relax on the beach and have a cocktail.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, Mitch, to tie into your mentioning about the beach club that's opening soon. For short cruises, I just did a 4-day cruise 2 weeks ago, and one of our ports was in Nassau. And so, that is the busiest cruise port that there can be. And for anybody who sails to the Caribbean and especially the Bahamas, you've probably seen NASA once, twice, multiple times. And so it's so great to have a new option when you get there. And while we were in port in NASA, we were literally having lunch, and out our window, we could watch all the construction going on of them furiously building this beach club right outside our cruise ship, because we were on the furthest pier at the port. So I was taking photos and sending them back to everybody, showing them the construction going on and saying, here's the beach club right here. You can see it from the pier. And already they're setting up the docks and everything to bring in the tenders to bring them to the club.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's exactly it. And some people just, they may not want to try to find a beach on their own, and they prefer a beach that has drinks. And is there a washroom? Is there a restaurant? So that's kind of a little small opportunity that we're taking advantage of. Plus, as you said, Matt, there's a lot more ships going and a lot more guests going, and there's only so many tour operators in these ports. So that's another one where a lot of the tours are sold out. So this is just going to give our guests another great opportunity to experience those beach clubs.
So, Mitch, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So I, as you know, I'm going on Symphony of the Seas at the end of the month.
Yep.
Next week. And originally we were going to Labadee, and I hear that ships have been pulled out of Labadee. Could you share with some of our listeners and viewers what the impacts are and what other options are there? Where are the ships being rerouted to?
Yes. So with Labadee, I mean, it's I was on the ships almost 19 years, and there was, off and on for a couple different years, there was similar to what's going on now, and the ships would maybe choose on a different call. Now, this decision is just between us. It's kind of like a political decision. We're where Labadee is. We're on the very end of the island, about 6 hours away from the nearest town. So you have to kind of go through a jungle and over a mountain to get where Labadee is, which so we would never be worried that anything would ever happen and the ships could continue going. We do really enjoy supporting the local communities there. We built a school in Labadee and built freshwater facilities. And Royal Caribbean is the largest cruise line in the world at the cruise brand. We would never risk all of our crew members, our ships, and our guest safety if it wasn't a safe place to go. So right now, because of, there is concern, we are just going to divert the ships right now and for the next few weeks. And I wish I could tell you the exact ports, Luke, but it all depends, because whatever ports are available is where we'll go. And it all depends where you can get, because if one itinerary maybe had St. Martin before or St. Thomas, it all depends what's the next closest available port with the least amount of impact for guests. So sometimes that'll be Jamaica. Sometimes that'll be an extra day at sea. So if you had a beverage package, that's more chance to take advantage of that and enjoy some activities. But it all depends. But the most important thing is that as soon as there is a decision made, you will get notified of the itinerary change if there is one.
Cool. Thanks.
Awesome. So, Mitch, when Utopia first launched, it was sort of as a short cruise kind of ship. So what, if somebody's thinking like, I want to do a short cruise, I want to plan my bachelorette, my girls getaway, my not married anymore celebration, lots of things people like to celebrate. Why would you send them to Utopia of the Seas? I know you always talk about how amazing it is, and why go to Vegas when you can cruise on Utopia, right? So why don't you give us the breakdown on that?
Yeah, I'll mention the other ships in a second, but so Utopia is the 6th Oasis class. So the Oasis class ships are the most popular cruise ships in history. Everybody is kind of replicating what those ships are, and that is a great compliment to Royal Caribbean. They're the first ships that have that entire Royal Promenade, which is like a city block with all those bars, restaurants. So there's the main theater, there's the incredible Aqua Theater, there's the ice skating shows. There is over 30 bars and restaurants, nightclubs, live music venues. And then you talk about the casino, which are the largest casinos at sea with almost just under 300 slot machines, over 30 table games. And you are essentially in Las Vegas. when you're on those ships, because it's just like Vegas, but when you think about the activities and all the entertainment, it's included. So you're not having to spend $300 to see at I think it's Bellagio. You're going to see the Aqua Show complimentary, and I've seen O twice, but you're going to get to see it complimentary. So all those fun things that you would maybe do in Vegas, you don't have to go anywhere. You're on the ship; it's all there. You can get your drink package, you can get your Wi-Fi package, and as I think the best thing is, you're going to be, as Tina said, at Perfect Day at Coco Cay and the Royal Beach Club in Nassau. So it's just an amazing experience, and you don't have to fly as far to get there. So that is with Utopia. And it's also really cool because that's the very first ever brand new Oasis class ship to enter into a 3 and 4 day, what we call short Caribbean market. And it's never been done before. And it's, over almost $1.5 billion ship. So to invest that kind of money into a brand new ship and put it right into that short product says a lot. And that also is another great thing is, if you want to take someone that's never been on a cruise before, and we all know, even if we were hesitant to take our first cruise, and I'm talking to everybody watching out there, you did your first cruise and now you want to try and recruit everybody else to go with you. And there's no better ship on the planet to blow them away than a short and sweet cruise on Utopia, because it is really easy to convince someone to go away for 3 days. The ship's barely moving. Nassau is so close. So that's why I think Utopia is a great option, but not to discount all the other ships because there's so many. And even the good old Tina was on Radiance of the Seas last year. I worked on Radiance of the Seas. She's one of our smallest ships. She's actually doing 3 and 4 day cruises from Florida over to Perfect Day and to Nassau. So truly something for everybody. If you're looking for more entertainment or something a little bit smaller, you can find it on those ships.
Fantastic. And it looks like we have we have a question. It's from Kate, and she says, last time I booked a back-to-back, Matt was able to get a discount on both ends. Is that a VFC thing, or is that via the cruise line? And then she added after that, thanks, Matt, by the way.
So that was with Celebrity. So with the Celebrity cruises at the back-to-back or even the side-to-side. So if they sail out of Miami on one and then we move them over to Fort Lauderdale, or if they were to move to Port Canaveral, as long as they're within a certain time frame of one another, then we can get a back-to-back discount applied to those. So that's not an agency thing. That is the cruise line thing. So that's specific to Celebrity, that they have that back-to-back promotion, and that's how we were able to make that happen for Kate. And you're welcome.
Awesome. Okay, well, there's not a lot of questions tonight. I think everyone is watching the playoffs. So my next question is to each and every one of you, who are you cheering on in the playoffs? We'll start with Tina, because I know who she's cheering for.
Really? Because it's so obvious. Like, I post about them on social media all the time. I'm a huge Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but I'm also a Canada fan. So I am watching the Jets, and I'm watching the Canadians, and I'm watching all the Canadian teams right now. So if my Leafs can't make it, although they're looking pretty good this year, but
this year's different, Tina. This year,
I have no expectations because I am a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Zero expectations.
We only have to win one more to win the whole cup. So
what? Yeah.
Oh,
I know. Yeah.
nice.
Mitch is with me on the Toronto bandwagon. Listen, I don't think anybody else in our agency is. I think everybody else is like Montreal or New Jersey. So So I'm the only Toronto one. So at least I got Mitch here as my Toronto fan. But we are talking about NHL. There's NBA going on right now too. I think, I don't know. My son's like immersed in the NBA right now, which I don't follow any of that. So, but yeah, I'm all about the hockey.
How about you, Matt? Who are you cheering for?
So this time last year, I was sporting my red New Jersey Devils jersey because I am a diehard Devils fan. I have been since I was 8 years old. For anybody who lived in this area, in the Niagara region, back in the 80s, the NHL used to play a softball tournament in the summer in Niagara Falls, and all the NHL teams would come here and play a baseball tournament. And my dad knew one of the trainers for the brand new New Jersey Devils after they got transferred from the Colorado Rockies. And so he brought me over. I got to meet the whole team. I got to be their bat boy. I got a shirt from them. They all signed a hat and gave me a hat. And at 8 years old, I had this program that was signed by the team, the hat signed by the team, and I got to be their bat boy. And I was just in awe of these people and how nice they were to me. And I've been a fan ever since then. And so while they are in the playoffs this year, they are without their star player. So I've already moved on to baseball and started to watch the Jays because I can only endure so much suffering, and I know it's probably going to be a four games and done for New Jersey this year. Unfortunately, they hit a major speed bump when they lost their all-star center and one of the top scorers in the league with Jack Hughes. So it's rough sledding for us.
All right. Well, we're putting good luck out for you there. And how about Carrie? Do you have a team?
I won't say what team my family supports because they're done. So I'm going to jump on the Leafs bandwagon for now. I'll help Tina out and Mitch.
Awesome. Trisha, do you have a team?
I don't really have a team either, so I'll jump on Team Toronto. I actually like watching women's professional hockey better.
Nice choice.
There's something going on right now, isn't there? Isn't there some international tournament, or is that over?
Yeah, there's all sorts of things going on with them, and my girls played girls hockey. And actually, one of our coaches was Peter Ing, who was a previous Toronto goalie. And my daughter played goalie, so that was so thrilling for her. So, go Leafs.
Wow. Awesome. And Luke?
Well, I have to be the breaker of bad news here, but technically I am a native of Ottawa, which means I stick with my Senators, and I guess I'm outnumbered here because, we have a lot of Leafs fans.
Before there was a Senators team, were you a Leafs fan?
No.
You won't admit it if he was.
Yeah. You had a bad night then last night, eh, Luke?
Yeah, well, I tried not to watch it, but anyways. I was busy booking Royal Caribbean cruises last night, watching the news.
There you go. And before we wrap up,
Linda,
since
you
Mitch
didn't say who your team is.
Oh, my team is the Habs.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, ever since the Patrick Waugh days, it's been a long time. So.
Yeah, how could you not like Patrick Waugh? He was amazing. You could also like to hate when he was playing against you.
He was an amazing goalie, and I think all goalies are a little bit crazy, but he was fun to watch too. We
haven't heard
but before
from
we wrap up, it's Royal Canadian month. Oh, sorry, Luke.
We haven't heard from Mitch. What team are you?
I already.
He gave it away with the puck in the cup.
Okay, I missed it.
Yeah, he put his puck in his Stanley Cup up.
And I will tell you, we made this in grade 9 shop class. So I have it. I still have it waiting for us to win the cup. I'm waiting. I'll put a shot of the peanut butter whiskey that Tina gave me in there and all that. But I will say,
you don't still have that.
Actually, there's a little.
You aren't coming over.
It's in the freezer. There's like a little. I can't drink the last drop. But it's funny. You mentioned, Trisha, your daughter was a goalie. I was a goalie too. So yes, we are a little crazy. And I realized pretty quick that being a goalie and being, barely 5'5", you can't be a goalie at that size. So, I'm just a fan. But yeah. Over to you, Linda.
You have to have a big budget too.
Yeah. Well, luckily my brother worked for Vaughn, so I actually worked for Vaughn before I started working on a cruise ship. So that's where they make all the amazing goalie equipment. So I got an employee deal.
All right, we have one other comment here I'm going to throw up here. So it's Mike, and he says, "Hi, it's Mike from Saskatoon. We can only do back-to-back or even back-to-back-to-back. Our travel time and costs are way too high." Yeah. What about people who maybe aren't on those, sort of coasts or near the airlines? Any recommendations from our panel here?
I'll just quickly jump in before anyone else answers and say one thing, when we're not talking about just the short and sweet ones, Royal Caribbean, you'll see a lot, Mike, of 7, 7, 7, 6, 8, 9, 5. Almost all of those itineraries are going to offer an Eastern, then a Western, or a Southern, then an Eastern, then a Western. So a lot of our guests, and take it from me who lived on the ships for many years, are doing, 6, 8, 14, 24. There's people doing 40-night cruises back to back to back. And there are some people that literally spend months on the cruise. I met some couples that bought a house in Florida, and then they realized very quickly that they shouldn't do that. They sold it, and then they spent 2 months or 3 or 4 months just cruising. So, great options to do those back-to-backs, especially coming from Saskatoon.
And to piggyback on what Mitch is saying, I was on a British Isles cruise last year out of Amsterdam on Jewel of the Seas, and the itinerary before was going to Iceland and Ireland. And we did a British Isles cruise, and then it was actually going to a Norwegian fjord. So it actually does that triple loop as a back-to-back-to-back, which that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, and that's why you have the best travel agents in the industry, because everyone here can find those awesome itineraries, and they can send you all those cool, unique sailings as well, because Royal Caribbean doesn't advertise those. But when you think about those long cruises and the back-to-backs, and these guys and girls can piece it all together for you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So it is Royal Caribbean month. They are supplier of the month, and we have had lots of fun so far this month with giveaways and offers, and Mitch doing a presentation, and he's actually going to be live and in person. So if you love him on camera, you're going to love him even more when you get to meet him in person. We're going to be on May 13th, I believe, and it's going to be in Burlington. So all that information is on our website. There's some e-news going out about that, and definitely sign up. Space is limited, and there's a chance to win a free Royal Caribbean cruise as well.
Speaking of short but sweet, it's a 4-night free cruise, free, that you could win.
I heard Mitch is dressing up for this. We got some sort of fancy outfit.
I know, right? I can't wait.
So I don't want to give it away, but Tina mentioned that.
I don't know who started this rumor.
She mentioned that everybody at Vacations for Canadians was going to dress up if I dressed up. So we have to discuss. We're going to sidebar on this. There's a rumor. There's a rumor going around that we're all going to do the Village People dance routine. I don't know if we have enough time to teach everybody that. So I might have to do for the next event we do.
Don't worry. Just come 15 minutes early, Mitch, so we can get you costume fitted.
You don't have to have a tailor. Everything I have to get tailored to. For sure,
We'll buy it in the kids section. Don't worry.
Well, look, I have a bet. No, it won't fit because too many beers.
It's a one-size-fits-all.
Just by this banter here, that should be enough to sell everybody on coming to this event, because expect a lot of this at our event, because that's exactly what it's going to be like.
Yeah, maybe like a vacation for
awesome. And it's free. You don't even have to pay money, Kate.
Listen, I never got to see you as cruise director, Mitch, so I need to see cruise director Mitch. So you have to dig deep and bring back cruise director Mitch for this event.
We're going to have fun. We're going to play a game show that we used to play on board the ship called Majority Rules. So you can come by yourself, and we'll put you on a team, or you can bring your friends, your family, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and someone's going to win. Come on, the real reason you're going to come is to try to win a free cruise, but we will have fun.
So before we sign off, we were saying it's Royal Caribbean Supplier of the Month. So Mitch, you are the bringer of all things good. So why don't you tell us about all the great offers that are happening right now? Because we, sometimes we don't get to post all of them, and I know you're always sending us those updates. So what's happening with Royal Caribbean right now?
There is so many amazing offers on right now, and we're going to keep the offers going next month. So, we just want to make sure that if you've never booked before, you get in touch with these amazing team members here at Vacations for Canadians, because as you saw, they have access to some of the best prices in the industry, and there is nobody out there like Tina. What Tina is doing is she is going in and blocking huge amounts of staterooms the day we release the inventory. And what that does is that locks in the price for you. And that's all based on double occupancy. So she can hold that for months and months and months. And that's why if you went on the Royal Caribbean website, which we know you're checking the itineraries, you need to always check with Vacations for Canadians, because oftentimes they can save you hundreds and sometimes into the thousands of dollars, because Royal Caribbean's prices get higher and higher and higher the closer we get to the sailing date. And in many of those groups, there is some great perks like specialty dining, like onboard credit, and there's other really great offers right now. There's some promotions going on for Icon of the Seas, Star of the Seas, up to $200 onboard credit. Wonder of the Seas, which is again starting some 3 and 4 night cruises out of Miami with onboard credit offers. So there's just lots of great choices. If you're flying over to Europe this year, highly recommend that you think about sailing on there's 6 ships in Europe this year, but my favorite is the Allure of the Seas. So literally this week, she just came out of a $100+ million dry dock. She's sailing from Barcelona and Rome on 7-night Mediterranean cruises. And we have an awesome airfare offer up to $200 or $500 USD in airfare with Royal Caribbean if you book your flight through us as well. So lots of great offers going on right now. I think, I don't know if you want, I can share some of those offers to you later. And, I don't know if you email everybody out this or we post them, but yeah, there's too many to mention.
There's a lot.
Some of the highlights.
And we can layer some even more on top of that. So we also have our last minute booking perk. So if you book after final payment, so say you've just decided now that you want to take the kids on that summer Royal Caribbean vacation, we offer Amazon gift cards. We also have our military, teacher, and first responder onboard credit deal. And I believe that's if you book it 120 days before the cruise, you qualify for that. So lots of extra layering. You could be getting specialty dining, onboard credit, flights. There's just so many different things that you could be getting right now, and we can layer a lot of them. But you got to reach out to one of us and we'll tell you exactly what we can do.
I would like to just quickly add something, Linda and Tina, and team, it's not really a special offer, but it is a good tip. And it's one of my favorite tips. So at Royal Caribbean, when it comes to adding on some of those things that we talked about and getting the best deal, I just want to share that. So when you think about a beverage package and you think about a Wi-Fi package at Royal Caribbean, there's only one beverage package with alcohol, and it's unlimited and it's all top shelf. If you can drink it, it's included. Same with the Wi-Fi. It's unlimited. It's the fastest internet in the world at sea. And once you buy it, it's included. Now, if you purchase your cruise in Canadian dollars, which most of us will, as soon as we get our booking number, we're going to get access in the Royal Caribbean app or on the website to the pre-cruise planner. And that's where you can pre-purchase any of these items. We highly recommend that you do that as soon as possible, because we have kind of like a static pricing. The more we sell or the lower the inventory, the higher the price goes. So right now I saw a huge drop in beverage package prices. And when you buy that beverage package in Canadian dollars, you will lock in the best price. And on the ship, everything's in USD. So buy your pre-cruise items in Canadian dollars. If anything does happen to go on sale, because there's no guarantee that it will. Sometimes there's a beverage package sale, but it's not on all sailings. If it does go on sale, you can cancel anything and get a full refund and rebook at the cheaper price currently up until 2 days before your cruise. And soon it's going to be seamless. So that's just another little tip that I'd like to share, because it's all about getting the best value and saving money.
That's a great tip. All right. I've got to do a giveaway. I forgot about that.
That's why everyone's
So much fun. I forgot about the giveaway. All right. So we're going to have a comment giveaway tonight, and it's going to be the first person who comments with one of the ships that we mentioned tonight that does the short but sweet sailings. and you're going to win a passport holder.
Is that all you have left, Linda? Because that seems to be every week now.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to clear out so we can get our new rebranding on there.
Yeah. Oh,
Eleanor.
Yeah, I think-
Ding, ding, ding.
Eleanor.
Oh, Eleanor. Way to go, Eleanor.
Well done.
Get
Okay,
that
I
out
want
to
to give
you.
away something too.
Oh, Mitch is giving something away.
So
Can we play?
there's there's a condition on it, because what I'm going to give away, you have to book a cruise before in the next few weeks, because we'll add on, speaking of Wi-Fi, we're going to add on a VOOM Wi-Fi package, which is the fastest internet at sea, powered by Starlink. So yes, the first person to write into the chat, a puck, the first person to write into the chat, the first beach club for Royal Caribbean opens this December, name the port that it's going to be opening in to win the VOOM package when you book your next Royal Caribbean cruise.
Ooh.
You definitely mentioned it.
Kate thought you were going to give away your puck.
Ah, she got both.
Oh, there we go. Eleanor, again, double. Can you win twice? Wait a minute.
Yes.
I'm paying
You
attention.
didn't specify the rules. You should know better.
Kate,
Kate was right underneath there. So just remember, the condition is how long do they have to book their cruise with us to get that Wi-Fi package?
by May 14th.
Cool.
Okay. So if you book your RC cruise before May 14th.
Oh.
Eleanor says give it to Kate. All right, Kate.
Oh, look, Kate's not happy. No, she's happy. Okay, I would give 2 away. If they both book a cruise, we'll give it to them.
Oh,
Amazing.
look at that.
Mitch, you're the best.
We have to end this because I don't have any more left.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw it back to Matt
we have
then.
to go watch a hockey game.
All right. Well, we'll wrap things up there. Thank you so much, Mitch, for joining us this evening, for adding a couple extra giveaways to our presentation tonight. As always, we want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you watch it live or you watch it back on any of our social medias that we provide this presentation afterwards. We certainly appreciate you tuning in with us. Next week, we'll be right back here, same bad channel, same bad time, with Client Appreciation Month that we're kicking off. So last year we did it in September. We're upping the ante and we're doing it sooner in the year. So we'll be kicking that off for May, and we'll be going into that cruise chat next week. So be sure to tune in with us so that you can hear all about what to expect when we kick off Client Appreciation Month. As always, thank you to everybody on the panel tonight. Luke, Tina, Carrie for that wonderful presentation, Trisha, Mitch joining us, and Linda working all the magic behind the scene. If you need to reach out to any one of us, there's the number 289-812-2355, or you can email us, sales@vacationsforcanadians.com, or just check out the website, vacationsforcanadians.com. That's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.